Come join me in my creative space where we can paint, learn, and have a few laughs. So get comfy and let's get started. Hi everyone, Kat here. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to be painting a Mother's Day card for my mom, who is 87. I'm very lucky to still have her in my life. I thought that you might want to follow along, and you don't have to put the word mom here. You can maybe put a heart shape or no shape. You can put some masking tape down and make stripes if you want to make, or you could just paint it with nothing masked out. I'm going to be using my Dagger brush today. I bought this a couple of years ago and I was playing with it yesterday. It does take some getting used to, so I thought I would try this. I came up with something like this. This is my sketchbook. I kind of liked how it turned out, so I thought that I would do it on a card for my mom. To start with, I'm using, this is called Bright Rose. It is a little fugitive though, so because it's a card, I don't mind really. I doubt that she's going to keep it hanging it anywhere for a long time. Dioxazine Violet, and I have Holbein's Turquoise. And we're just going to start by wetting this card down. I am using my very inexpensive paper, extremely inexpensive paper. And the reason I chose it is because of how white it is. Now I'm going to take this is a very water-soaked soft brush. Like if I put it on me, you'll see that it's dripping in water. And I'm going to pop it in my pink. And I'm going to just sort of put splotches of it here and there. There is no rhyme nor reason. The reason I want it in groups is because that's going to tell me what color flowers to paint there later. Now I'm going in with my turquoise. It's okay if you have some white spots, but not around the tape really, and not around if you use some masking. Don't have spots there. Dioxazine. Dioxazine Violet is extremely strong color. It's a beautiful color, but it's very strong. So be careful, make sure it's very diluted. Okay, put some down here. And we're going to let it run back and forth in a few minutes. Back to the dioxazine. That is a core color. That dioxazine, you see how it spreads? It's magical. Core paints do that. And so if you're doing landscape kind of abstract stuff, the core paints are great for that because they're just very unpredictable, because that happens. So you can predict the unpredictable. So this paper is soaked, so it's making a little valley right here in the center. And so I'm going to keep moving it around, and I'll just simply remove the excess water with a thirsty brush. I'm going to show you how to do that. You dry off your brush and you just place it very gently where the puddles are, and they'll refill themselves because you're not taking up everything. There, and that helps. And as I said, don't worry if there's white spots inside, but you don't really want them when they're close to the paint here. So I'm going to just take some dioxazine because it's so strong, and I'm just going to drop it in. Whoops, not wet enough. See, if your brush isn't wet enough, you take paint off. So this is the trick about painting in watercolor. There's always a learning curve. You always need to figure out how much water you need versus how much paint. So, like the chefs do on a cooking show, I have one here that is magically ready. So as you see with this one, I did a mom and then I put some masking here. I wasn't very careful. I didn't measure anything out, and then I masked out a little frame, and I just want to see what that turned out like. Now the reason I made the background all different colors is because that's what's going to dictate to me what color flower I'm going to paint there. I decided to try my Dagger brushes finally for more than just play. They're not the easiest to control though, for me anyway. So this one, these I got off of Amazon. It ended up being someone from Montreal that sold them. And they're great. They're nylon. They don't hold too much water. I have an angled brush that I could also use. But it does hold a ton of water and it's kind of thick, the amount of bristles there are. So I just thought that this one would be easier. So where the blue is here, since I see blue, I'm going to make a couple of petal shapes, like diamond shaped. So I'm starting at the center and I'm dragging my brush down on an angle. And if you want to add a center just so it bleeds, you can do that. And I'm gonna, I think, add another one here. And it's okay if it goes where your masking tape is. You kind of want that. Now I'm being a little bit precious about these, and I wish I had a smaller, this is smaller, but it's almost too small. So I wish I had one between this. This is a 1/4 inch and this one is 1/8 of an inch. So I'll just do another one here. And I don't think you would end up seeing another one there, so. Okay, so rinse that off. Now I'm going to move to, like I see some purple here, so I'm gonna go into my violet. Just be careful, not too thick, kind of milky. And you're gonna go right over your mom, the word, whatever you have in the center. Don't be afraid to go over it. And I'm going to add a little bit. Now, if this were cotton paper, see my brush strokes are already dry. If this were cotton paper, it would spread like that. But it's not, so I'm gonna do another one here. You can do them different sizes. You can do them light, dark. I'm going to start off with the light. I'm not going into dark too fast. And I see a bit over here. Just a bit here. So you bring it down on an angle. So it's like a diamond shape, sort of like that. Yeah, I find this paper dries super fast. Anyway, don't fiddle like I just did. So now I'm going to use some of that beautiful pink, that rose. The other one you could use is a quinacridone rose. That would be nice. And that's not fugitive. That's usually very light fast. So I'm going to start putting it in right there. So it's okay if your colors kind of overlap the other colors. It just adds a bit of interest in your card. So this is just a relaxing little project. I'm just making 4. You can put 5 if you like. If you look at a hydrangea or a hyacinth, they kind of grow in clusters like this, and they are not as pointy as this, but I think there are 5 petals on each. I'm going to do some blue here. That's nice and vibrant. Mauve and pink over here. So you can actually mix the two. Oops. There we go. If you use cotton paper, you can blend these colors right on the paper. But this inexpensive paper dries so quickly that I have to mix colors on my palette first. But something like a card, unless you have access to a ton of watercolor paper and it's, you know, you don't mind spending it on something like this, it's good. This is good, a good project to use your inexpensive paper on. And you don't feel any guilt. If something doesn't work out, you just don't feel any guilt. It's beautiful. I'm gonna add a little bit again in here just to, so it's a little bit different from that one. Point in the middle and pull down diagonally. I'm going to use a smaller one later so you can see. I'm just adding in a petal here and there. See, the more you do it, the less careful you're going to be, and it's going to look a little bit more full and natural, and you don't have to be so worried. I am going to do the perimeter too. I may fast forward through some of this or just skip it all together so you don't have to watch every stroke I make. But I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to go right over the tape. See, when you mix that pink and the turquoise, it turns into a beautiful purpley color. The only thing is I often talk in my videos about transparency, and the turquoise colors that are mixed like that often are not transparent. They're not completely transparent. Like this one, I write it down. This one is semi-opaque, which means it's not semi-transparent, it's semi-opaque, which is even thicker than semi-transparent. And thicker by, I say, not thicker, but more, you can't see through it as well. I know you know what that means already. I don't know, I'm just blabbering. Sorry. The best is if you can pick up two colors at the same time, like that. I love that. But that might be another video, because I suggest you use a different palette, something that's more flat, so that you can control different parts of your brush a bit better, like what enters what. Okay. I'm going to work, I know that's not dry there. I'm going to work on where it is dry. I'm going to use my Hooker's Green by Paul Rubin. And I'm going to make a couple of little leaf fillers. Just here and there. Oh, I don't think this is a good brush for that. It's not pointy enough. So after trying a couple of little brushes, I'm just going to decide on size 4. So I'm just going to alternate between using my sap green and my Hooker's Green. Okay, like those two colors right there and there. So I'm just going to add a few leaves here and there, just little leaf shapes. And this is exactly how you can make the flowers too, if you like. You don't have to use a dagger brush. You can use a regular shaped brush and just make these little petal shapes. So just dabbing in some color. And I think that it'll look pretty nice on this paper because it is so white, and inexpensive paper, your color tends to stay on the top a little more. It doesn't get soaked in as much. So your colors look more vibrant, which is always pretty exciting. There's a lot of good things about inexpensive paper. I know we don't give it credit for much. It's frustrating sometimes, but for those things, it is kind of nice for that purpose, and also for it not being so precious. You don't have to, you're not stressed as much. If you ruin something, or you know, if you don't like something, you could say, oh, you can easily say, oh, I'll just take another piece of paper and try again, which is what we should say even with the expensive paper, but we don't. I know we don't. Most of us don't. I have certain brushes that I like to use for leaves, but they're bigger. I don't really like doing it with a small brush. I find them too long, the small brushes, to make a good leaf. That's just me. Fuzzpot. So this is just a fun, quick project to try. As I said, you do not have to put the word mom in the middle. I'm just doing that because of the time of year. There, I was kind of rushing through that part. Now with the smaller Dagger brush, I will paint a few smaller petals to go between the bigger ones. And I also just wanted an excuse to use the small Dagger brush. But I'm not going to put whole flowers. I'm just going to put... Oh, this isn't my Dagger brush. Oh boy, ding dong, ding dong. Here we go. This is my Dagger brush. And up here, I'll put a purple one, and I might put some blue up there. It's just to fill everything in. You'd like it to be nice and full looking. But if you like it like this, just leave it. That's quite all right too. The birds are feverishly nesting, trying to nest above my outdoor light right as we speak. So I keep having to get up and and tell them, please go somewhere else. It's not that I mind so much. It's just if I go outside, they'll attack my head once the babies are there. So I don't want them to start their nest. I want to try to nip it in the bud before they lay their eggs. Okay, I'll let that dry, and we're on to the last step. The next few minutes. Whew. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Stop it. The next 2 minutes is what it sounds like when you film with your microphone on the floor. Bear with me. When you're certain that this is dry, you can remove your masking fluid. And I use just like it's like a jelly eraser. I didn't go and buy one of those rubber erasers. I found this, and it works perfectly fine for me. Now you see there's a white spot in the paint, which I said wasn't a big deal, except for around your words and around the masking tape. So I'm going to fill that in with a leaf or something after. I can still see my pencil lines, which I don't like, so I'll see if I can get rid of them. And if your masking fluid isn't straight enough, we can always paint over it. Yeah, I think I could have gone in with some darker paints around that, the mom. So I think I'll do that. And I'll just remove this. That bled a little bit, and so did that, unfortunately. Sometimes when you can't get masking tape all in one piece, you do have these tiny little areas where the water can seep through. What I have seen someone else do, they put down their masking tape, and then right on the edge, they put a thin layer of masking fluid. Me and masking fluid don't have a good relationship, so I did not bother, and mothers are quite forgiving, and I don't think she's gonna mind if I have to put some white paint on this. So this area here is a little bit funky, and that there. Just trying to smooth out the lines just a little bit. And as I said, it's inexpensive paper, and so my pencil lines are kind of still, I'm not able to erase them. So I think it's best if I just put a bit of white paint over them. And then I will cover this up as best I can. And my paper is extremely white. This inexpensive paper is very, very, very white. So it's perfect for using white paint on. So in the center, you can choose to put dark dots or any color you want. I'm going to do white in the center of the flowers. You can do yellow, you can do a dark color. I thought I would stick with the white. And just to fix right there, I have a little bit of a white spot too close, so I'm going to put a leaf there. Not too watery. There. The other, I think what I'm going to do on my other card is I'm going to use some flashy, some gold or something. To add a little contrast, I think I'll mix some black with some purple to add to the centers of the flowers. Just around that white a little bit on some of them. You don't have to do all of them if you don't want. Just a couple of little dots. With the very tip of your brush. Make sure you don't have water running down the ferrule of your brush, because it will make a big blob of black. Yes, I quite like that. So here are the two Mother's Day cards. Off camera, I painted the other card I prepared earlier using a regular round brush, and it took me all of 5 minutes. I like the look of this one. This one's a little more free, and I could have filled it a bit more, but for time's sake, I left it as such. I really hope you enjoyed this video and that it gave you just a touch of spring fever. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. Happy watercoloring. Bye-bye.